disbelief, fear, and concern.
I actually was traveling overseas when I heard about it for the first time. For me, it was a huge looming concern that I had.
I was curious, not too bothered, a little concerned.
I felt secure. I was curious and honestly a bit cavalier.
Shock, also surreality. I couldn't get my mind wrapped around it. And some fear, truly.
There was a feeling of disconnection.
Oh my gosh, I won't be able to see my grandkids. I won't be able to hug them. I won't be able to do all the wonderful things I had done before. I wouldn't be able to travel. And it made me sad. And it made me very, very concerned about how my family would feel and my friends would feel and the impact it would have on my community.
When things got real very fast, I was very scared, very nervous, I was worried about bringing something home to my husband.
When we had to leave our site, and work from home, my first thought was to our staff, because it was a very sort of emotional moment when we were all there and we had to just leave. And then for my family, of course, because the more I learned, the more I realized, even though they're in the same state, we weren't going to see each other. And that really weighed heavy on my heart.
There was actually a feeling of relief. As far as my job was concerned, that scared me a little, because my job is primarily in the facilities and in the community, and being locked down meant I couldn't do my job. It was challenging too, though, at the same time, because I still need people. Everybody needs people and that interaction. And I live alone, so it did get pretty tough sometimes to be nowhere but here.
Hey, I'm Lisa St. George. I'm the Vice President of Peer Support and Empowerment at RI International, and I live in Arizona.
My name is Dr. Beverly Muhammad, and I reside in Laveen, Arizona, and I'm a diversity and inclusion consultant to RI.
Hi, I'm Akemie Jones. I live in North Carolina, and I am the program supervisor for the Henderson location.
My name's Terrance Smithers. I live here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm the manager of training development for RI International.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kerry duVent. I'm a peer professional with RI Outpatient Services in Puyallup, Washington. I reside in Tacoma, Washington.
So I was inspired to take the vaccine because, well, first of all, I have a daughter who's really, really sick, and I wanted to be able to be with her, and her immune system is down. And so the sooner I could get the vaccine, the safer I would be with her. And so that was the first thing that came to my mind. And of course, the second thing is I want to get back to my life. I want all of us to get back to our lives. I've missed seeing friends. I've missed going places. I've missed, the simple things like having coffee with my daughter every weekend like we used to. And so I want to get back to my life again in the way that I used to be. And so I miss that.
I have a weak immune system. That was one reason. But more importantly, I wanted to protect my husband, my children, my 26 grandchildren, my 6 great-grandchildren, my friends, and my community.
Well, I have several of the risk factors and have been very grateful and mindful that I've remained healthy since the onset of COVID-19. I honestly didn't waver much around it because I trust Dr. Browning and our medical staff completely and their recommendation for the vaccine. I believe it's my responsibility as a healthcare worker to do everything possible to ensure the safety and health of myself and those around me. And the same goes for the world. I mean, if I were to put in a word, I would say respect. Respect myself and anyone I came into contact with. I suppose selfishly, it's also about confidence. I mean, of course, we still take the recommended precautions. The vaccine doesn't mean take your mask off and the world as well. But I'll now participate in the world with a bit more confidence.
It's kind of for my protection and for the protection of those around me. The idea that I get to be present for other people when they're going through things is also an inspiration for me.
Me and my husband, we sat down and we had a conversation. We were apprehensive at first, so we wanted to make sure that we did our homework. Growing up as an African-American female, and those in the African-American community know that there is some apprehension that comes with getting any sort of vaccine. You're not wanting to be a guinea pig. You're wanting to make sure that this is a good solution and it's not going to end up doing harm later. But me and my husband, we did sit down, we did our research. Luckily, we do have some doctors that we are friends with, just like you all do, like your nurse practitioners, and we were able to get some good information to make a sound decision.
I had the Pfizer vaccine.
I took the Moderna vaccine February 25th.
I received the Pfizer vaccine.
We took the Moderna vaccine.
I took the Moderna.
Didn't hurt. And with the first vaccine, my arm was a little bit sore. But the second vaccine, my arm wasn't sore, but I got a little bit achy later in the day, but not bad. So for me, the relief that came when I had my second vaccine was tremendous. I felt a lot less fearful and anxious when I was out and actually enjoyed the experience for the first time in a really long time.
So I took the vaccine, felt absolutely nothing with the first injection. And day one, my arm was sore. Day two, it was very sore. Slight headache and chills and slightly fatigued during day two. And day three, I was back to normal.
No real symptoms outside of what I would get with the flu vaccine. So my arm was sore, but I remember what Dr. Browning said, rub your arm against the door. I did that for the first day and a half. And then by the third day, I didn't have any soreness.
And my experience was incredible. Every person, and you talk to a few, was incredibly kind and mindful of a person's possible fears or reactions. I mean, heck, they could have been peer support specialists. The 15-minute wait afterwards, I did a big windmill with my arm out the window of my truck, being mindful of Dr. Chuck's recommendations to keep your arm moving and keep that muscle active. I didn't have any soreness after that. The second day I had a slight headache, and I honestly don't even know if I can attribute that to the vaccine. The result, though, and I haven't had my second shot yet. That's due March 30th. But the result already has been amazing. I mean, the brilliant sense of confidence and purpose is unparalleled. And living into my own integrity and respect for others by making sure that I'm moving forward in the most healthy way possible.
The appointment was quick. Got in there. It was very efficient and very safe in how they did that. The shot itself didn't hurt, and I'm kind of a wimp with shots, so I was glad it didn't hurt because I do have the autoimmune. I did react a little bit. I had sort of almost migraine level headaches for a few days. Some nausea for maybe the first day. With the first one, fatigue hit like a freight train, and that lasted for about a week. With the second one, I'd say the fatigue was about the same. The second one, I ended up with a little bit of a fever as well for a few days. But all in all, given my situation, my friends were telling me, "Oh, that sounds awful," but I was like, "No, you don't understand. It was actually far better than what I was anticipating, and I'm very glad I did it."
Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Chuck. I appreciate you letting me talk on this subject. Obviously, I've been the dude at town halls that talks about the vaccine. Part of my role has been able to talk to and actually emphasize and help answer and give information to all of our staff who have concerns about information of the vaccine. Now we're up to over 50 million Americans that have been vaccinated, and over 11% of the population has had their two shots. So we're moving in a big direction where there's lots of people having the vaccine, having access to what we think is going to make a big difference in the impact in stopping the spread of COVID-19 virus and helping our loved ones, our staff, ourselves, not live in as much fear out in public about being exposed to the virus. Some of the common things over the past few months when I still talk about and answer questions about vaccines include 2 or 3 top questions. Number one is it safe? The statistics, again, continue to grow and grow to support the safety of all the vaccines, in that we've now up to, like I said, over 50 million that have had 50 million Americans alone that have had the vaccination with very, very few serious reactions. Another worry about safety was how quickly was the vaccine developed. And it's definitely true, it was developed very quickly. As I shared in one of our town halls, though, the actual safety part of the vaccine development was completely almost the same exact time that they spend testing 30,000 people in each trial. And the reason it was done so quickly was two big ones. Number one is the mRNA vaccine technology is so much faster than the old technology that they made vaccines, where they would have to have a deadened virus or a weakened virus or produce things in a culture. By using this production method, they could assimilate it much faster. And then the second reason that it was much faster was that the time period from once they had actually gotten the FDA approval, normally a company would wait until they had approval before spending, millions of dollars in preparing, manufacturing, and getting ready to distribute the vaccine. Part of the program of vaccine development involved going ahead and starting production. So when it was ready, we already were way ahead to be ready to have it mass produced and distributed. One of the other really common things that you see that are questions that people have is still about the genetics, the fact that it's got this term messenger RNA, and the worry that that can do something to your genetics. Messenger RNA that our body makes is not any different than the messenger RNA of the virus coming in terms of it doesn't go backwards into our genes to change our genetics. Our body breaks down messenger RNA that we make, as well as the messenger RNA in this virus. It'll break it down over a short period of time after it's been used to make the protein of the spike protein of the virus. However, there's lots of reasons that any individual could have to think through about what their fear factors are. And we're seeing lots of different groups of people have resistances for their own reasons. And I hope that at RI we've been able to listen and be able to share information in a way not to pressure people, but to really, we care about our staff, we care about the people that we serve. So from a public health perspective, if all of us could be vaccinated, that would be wonderful, because it decreases the chance that the virus has people to jump to keep this going. However, it's totally important and necessary to understand that there are groups of people who've been dealing with, very valid reasons to have mistrust in a system overall of our society, as well as the medical system. And I think that's really important to say and to validate. And the only way that that heals over time is to acknowledge that that's real and it's there. And the way that you overcome distrust and mistrust in relationships is to work on sharing, putting cards on the table and saying, this is the deal of what's happened, listening to each other, asking questions. And so I just want to leave it open for anyone in our team that has questions, has more information they still don't understand. I really would like everyone on our team to get the vaccine. But although I understand that there's going to be people that still, despite us talking about this and helping give information, aren't ready and don't feel safe about it. But if there are specific things that we can do to help explain, to help do a better job of helping you be able to be more motivated to make that decision for you, I'm open. So really appreciate everyone, and thank y'all for listening to me talk a little bit more about the vaccines, since I'm the dude that talks about the vaccines on Town Hall. I like that new term. And I thanks so much for sharing.
I'm very grateful that I was able to take that vaccine. And I'm very grateful for the minds that were able to come up with such a thing, and so quickly and so safely. Yeah, I would do it again.